All right, the Florida Swing, we're about to wrap it up. We're at Innisbrook Resort, coming off the heels of Rory McIlroy and his big Players Championship. We're live from Fox's Pizza in Kennett Square. Fairway to Heaven, 30 seconds.
Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 woo!
And a very good evening, everybody, and welcome to Fairway to Heaven right here on the STT Sports Network. We're live, YouTube, Twitter, you know the drill, wherever you're watching. Please make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and make sure you share it out as the race to 500 subscribers is almost complete, a mere 20-some away. So, guys, please like, subscribe. That is what we need you to do. But here we are coming off the heels of a huge victory at the Players' Championship from Rory McIlroy. We're here at Copperhead course in Palm Harbor, Florida, for the Valspar Championship. But, guys, we got Steven Fuentes right there. We got Jason Sullivan right here. I am Phil Stifle. Like I said, live from Fox's Pizza in Kennett Square. You know, it's always fun. Good evening, gentlemen. How you doing?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Oh, I'm living the dream here. Making pizzas and talking golf at the.
Right.
If I got to jump up to answer the phone, you guys just have to hold the fort down for me. You know. Steven, what's going on, my man?
How was it a few days for you ago on Pi Day? What type of a business do you have? What, on 4 days ago on 3/14?
What was that? Friday or Saturday? That was Friday, right? Oh yeah, we were really busy on Friday. So yeah, no, definitely. I got this one girl that works here at the shop now, and I told her she could do it, and now she takes it like super far. She like decorates all the pizza boxes for people. Like she draws pictures, she writes messages in there. So I gave her the idea to write on every box you have time 3.14 blank blank and then some more numbers, fill it in for the last slice of pizza. And she literally put that on like 20 boxes. So,
awesome.
You know,
That's a good one.
I wish all my employees took that kind of initiative and had some fun.
Kidding.
You know who took some initiative? Rory McIlroy last week, the Players' Championship, beating JJ Spawn, my third outright of the year. I did say last week that Rory McIlroy was the play over Scottie Scheffler. I just want to pat myself on the back for that one right there. But guys, Jason, let's start with you. What were your thoughts coming out of the Players' Championship? Not just Rory, but overall experience of the week, and how the event went.
It was actually a little bit of a boring week, I think, until Sunday. Like you and I think we're texting on Saturday, kind of talking about how the tournament was kind of lacking some excitement. Like it wasn't terrible, it wasn't great, but I don't know. I don't think anybody can argue that Rory McIlroy being in contention, whether he would have won or not on Sunday, I feel like him just being there is so good for golf. And Absolutely. I feel like he's kind of like the needle right now that's moving everything. And so it's good to see. I'm a big Rory fan, so I was pumped about it. But I just think in general, even if you don't like him, people either love him or hate him. So, I mean, I think being that polarizing is good for the game.
Absolutely. And Rory, you know, what's funny, Steven, is that Rory didn't even have his best game this past week. I mean, he was he's probably one of the greatest drivers of the golf ball I've ever seen in my life. And he was all over the place on the tee. Putting, I think I was talking to you, Steven, about him putting this weekend, where he was backing off of putts left and right all weekend long, and he missed a whole lot. Like, it could have been very easily a runaway for Rory McIlroy. And does that say how great Rory is, that when he has his B game, he can win? Or does that say that the rest of the tour can't keep up with Rory, even when he doesn't have his A game, because of the lack of star power?
Well, I think that the amount of the parity and how spread out of first-time winners there has been on tour this year, I think the talent is there. I just think that it's more of a testament to Rory. I mean, on Thursday, he finished 5 under and had hit like 4 fairways all day. And some of those shots that I think it was on 18, where he was in the pine needles, and the shot he hit out of there he was 15 feet from the hole, and to finish off to go 5 under, and it was his putting that saved him. Each day it was something else in his tool bag that saved him to get him to the playoff and eventually win it.
I do want to not make sure we forget to, kind of compliment JJ Spawn and talk about JJ Spawn, who did finish in a tie there, lost in the playoff because he dunked his ball on 17 in the water in the playoff. But I don't know if you guys watched the JJ Spawn presser after he lost the playoff. I mean, the guy is just all class and all professionalism. It's a shame because he is a very talented golfer, but he's just in that. Would JJ Spawn even be on our peripheral if the Brooks of the world, the Brysons of the world, and all them were even playing? Probably not. But I mean, the JJ Spawn, the way he handled it, I didn't realize he was on tour for so long. I mean, he's been around for a very long time. JJ Spawn has turned into a really good golfer later here in his career. Jason, you laughed at me when I said this before the show, that I'm looking to bet JJ Spawn at the Masters once those odds become available because he now qualifies for it. Do you think JJ Spawn has that big game in him? Because he kind of seemed like he had, he was cool customer in those big moments.
He has an elite iron game, which that's like one of those things. Like they always say, like, oh, defense travels in sports. It's like elite iron game travels in golf. So I feel like there's always a chance. I don't know if I see him like winning a big tournament ever, but I think he's a guy that, like, I think Steve and I, we were texting the other day about it. Like, I could see him winning like lesser tournaments, like second tier tournaments, Charles Schwab and like Detroit, those kind of tournaments where it's like 3M, where the studs don't necessarily play, but like if his iron game looks like that, he can win pretty much any tournament.
And I'm not saying that I think JJ Spawn will win the Masters, but I fully expect him to be in that 100-1 kind of, like, I bet, this past week, I bet Akshay Bhatia at 121 to win the Masters. I saw a very cool customer in JJ Spawn that wasn't rattled by the big moment. And even his shot on 17 in the playoff that went in the water, I kind of felt like he didn't even like his emotions didn't change even on that huge moment where he's like, all right, well, maybe Rory will screw up, but maybe I still got a chance to stay level head. That's what it takes to win a big tournament. Maybe not the Masters, maybe an elevated event, maybe a Players next year, something like that. JJ Spawn's story is not written, Steven, in my opinion.
No, I mean, look at this Florida swing with some of these guys, some of these fields, a second, a T31 and a T2. And so it shows he can play in these elevated fields. And, I didn't even think about it until you said it, that, would these guys even be talked about if these live guys were here? And I guess I'm kind of looking at it glass half full with the live guys not being there. I mean, would we be getting these first time winners, Dietrich, would we be talking about Akshay and those guys without it? So I think he's one of those up and comers who you can put him up there with Akshay, Knapp, Minwoo, in that category.
Go ahead, Jason.
I was kind of thinking too, like we were talking about Spawn, and like, yeah, he's a middle tier golfer, but I just feel like he's got the mannerisms, like you said, he's got the mannerisms and the composure to win golf tournaments, which is funny because Rory has all the talent in the world, and so he wins off of that. He has none of the composure. Like, you see him just like, once Rory gets mad, not necessarily like at anything, but like he gets mad at the golf course, and like he'll go through a spell like where he was up three shots on 15, and like he almost chokes it away. Like he just up and down. He's unbelievable, and then all of a sudden he just loses composure. So he's the exact opposite.
I think that's a great point because you want a combination of JJ Spawn's professionalism with Rory's talent. You'd have, and throw in Bryson DeChambeau's personality. You might have just built the perfect golfer right there between the three of those guys right there. Anyway, we're at the Valspar Championship this week. We move on. And before we get into the course, I forget who I was listening to Monday morning, but they brought up something in their thing about the Players Championship, and that if you miss the cut at the Players Championship, it actually favors you a little bit this week if you're in the field versus those that played deep into the weekend at the Players on a super long grinding course that there was a 4-hour delay on Sunday, et cetera, et cetera. Jason, what are your thoughts before we look at Copperhead, the course and the field? What do you think of that philosophy that maybe missing the cut last week can help benefit you this week?
It makes sense. I think it matters where they're like, where's your placement? Like if Spawn were playing this week, I would be off of him just because it's so mentally taxing to go so deep into a tournament and not win. But it's like we saw some other guys that I guess we're going to get that answer this week because we saw like guys like Danny Walker who, he was never really going to win, but I mean, he was right there the whole weekend.
Yeah.
And he's playing this weekend again too. So I don't know.
How about somebody like Will Zalatoris, who was having a great weekend until halfway through his round on Saturday when he had that that quadruple bogey. I forget which hole it was. And then he was able to it knocked him out of contention right away. But he was able to coast through the weekend after that without that pressure of winning. Does that change your opinion on someone in that situation? Not him specifically. We'll get to him when we get to his price point, but you know what I mean.
I think of a guy like Adam Scott, who missed the cut, who is super accurate off the tee, where you got to be here, where he's kind of got up and down course history, but to miss the cut at the Players to come here, I think he might. A guy like him is thinking of the Masters. They're looking forward to the actual first major instead of
everybody's looking. I mean, what are we now? 2 weeks away from the Masters now? 2 weeks or 3 weeks? Sorry,
three.
Sorry, I don't even know what the date is today. But anyway, so we're at the Valspar Championship, which I was listening to Len Hochberg talk the other day, and he's really hyped for this week because it's good for golf, because Valspar just signed a 3-year extension to continue sponsoring this, as other sponsors are dropping off across the PGA Tour because of the split. Valspar has renewed along with 3M for 3 more years, so that's a good thing. Innisbrook Resort, Copperhead course. It's weird. It doesn't rank in the top 3 most predictable course history courses, but when you really look at it, it's one of the most predictable course history courses out there, with Sam Burns being a 2-time defending champion. Paul Casey has won this event back-to-back years. One of those events that course history matters. But Jason, as the course history guy or the course guy, what do we got at Copperhead? What's this course like, and what are the players going to be facing this week?
To kind of play off your point first, I think that it's one of these courses that it's tricky. So I think I always think there's an advantage to course history, but I think especially like a week like this where the course is a little bit unique. So I think course history does matter a lot. But Innisbrook Resort, Copperhead course, like you said, 7,352 yards, par 71, Poa Trivialis greens. There are 74 bunkers on the course. Water's in play on 9 holes, so a little bit less than what we saw last week when water was in play on every hole. The 5 par 3s are all long, and they're all difficult. So it's going to be interesting. The par 5s are scoreable. There's one that's not really gettable in 2, but the rest of them are. So it'll be interesting. You're going to see the snake pit, which is very obviously everybody's sees the logo, and it's very iconic. But you see a lot of blow-ups on 16, 17, and 18. So that's something to watch out for this week.
I love courses like this where it's a par 71, but you still got 4 par 5s and 5 par 3s. Kind of brings a little creativity, into the course. Steven, it's not a Pete Dye course, but it's a very positional course like Pete Dye to an extent. Tree line, stuff like that. A ball striker's paradise. So what else do you have to add to what Jason said this week? What kind of golfers will you be looking at and targeting this week?
Well, with this being a top 10 difficult course the last 2 years, and then it took a break for like 2 years, and then before that it was a pretty difficult course. So you're looking for guys who are super accurate off the tee. There's dog legs on this course, so it's the fairways are. You got to have guys who are going to hit the fairways, who are going to be strategic on their second shots, on those approach play. Just because, like you were saying, all those par 3s are they're pretty far out there.
What about I forget the number. I wrote it down, but then I didn't write the percentage. On that, because of the dog legs, because of the way this course is a little shorter, the bucket, the 175 bucket. I think I read it was like 40% of shots, second shots, come from that 175 to 200 bucket. We talked about accuracy off the tee here. Tree line, narrow, whatever. But I almost always, again, I brought this up a few weeks ago, that on a course like this, maybe driving distance matters a little bit more than we realize, because if you're hitting that 9-iron from 175 like Rory would, versus a Brian Campbell that's going to need a 6-iron from 175, that makes a difference, right, Jason?
You've seen a lot of guys here that are kind of quote unquote bombers too. There's some lesser known guys. Davis Riley. Novak is another one. Bartlett's another one, or Bramlett, sorry, is another one where they hit the ball a mile, and it's like they kind of overpower the course. And I feel like, unless you're spraying it everywhere, I feel like distance is always an advantage.
Yeah. What else do you make about the fact that, you've got like last year, Peter Malnati out of nowhere to win it, like an RKO. But then other years you've got
Jeez,
I like to throw a little joke in when I can.
you got me.
I'm glad that somebody caught that and heard me say it. But then also you got the Paul Casey's of the world, the Sam Burns. You've got really great golfers that have won this event, but also unknowns that have won this event. Steven, do you think there's any rhyme or reason why that's like that? Or is it just the unpredictability of Florida weather, and we're going to get into the wave stacks this week, that kind of thing? Why do you think that plays into a factor like that?
I think because there's just enough elite players that still want to get that final round in, or those final weekend in before the Masters. But then you have all these other golfers who are at the top of their game, whether it's an amateur who is at the top of their game in the collegiate world, or the Corn Ferry. So you have a lot of different top golfers at different levels coming together and playing. So I think that has a little bit to do with it.
You got anything to add to that one, Jason?
No, I think that's a good point. I think you're seeing the last, like, the good players that have already qualified for Augusta. You're seeing them want to be in good form, and then you're seeing, like Steve said, like, you're seeing these lesser known guys that maybe haven't qualified, or they're amateurs or whatever, that can go a long way in qualifying this weekend.
So obviously, I just hinted at it a moment ago. Weather in all Florida events is always something that you have to monitor, because if you've ever been to Florida, a storm could pop up like that. We saw it at the Players, on Sunday, and we also saw wind throughout, Friday and Saturday's round as well. About 90% of the people I'm reading are talking about the AM/PM wave. AM on Thursday, PM on Friday is the wave to stack this week, because the wind and the weather is going to be a factor Thursday into Friday. But I am seeing a few people share some details, like more detailed forecasts, that people might be maybe taking it a little too far with their stacks and stuff. Jason, I know you love stacking waves like this. What do you think of this week's event with the weather forecasted, whether it's 100% or not, and how it affects? We've seen the odds. I don't know if you noticed the odds on DraftKings, Fanduel, all the sites, like as soon as the weather report came out, shifted instantly. So there's somebody out there thinking that the waves are going to be a big factor this week.
I think waves, I mean, you know me, waves.
You always stack them. And
I stack anyway. So I feel like and we've seen this before. Like, I mean, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but like the Players a couple years ago, it burned us because everyone was saying the same thing. And like, to your point, it's Florida. It's like that could be 3 hours difference, and then that flips the other way. So I stack both anyway. I don't go crazy with it, but I'll do, like, if I do 20 lineups, maybe I'll wave stack 6 or 7 of them just to,
And you also could take into account, and I'm just looking at my potential player pool here, and I see something like Tommy Fleetwood. Well, I know he's coming off, playing last week at the Players Championship, but he's in the quote unquote bad set of wave, the PM/AM wave. But he's a guy that knows how to flight the ball down. He's a guy that knows how to, handle the wind with his European experience and stuff like that. So I think you can almost get an advantage. I've seen even the ownership shift a little bit in some of these players because of the wave stacks. You can also try to strategize around that. If you think a guy like I mean, Fleetwood originally was not going to make my player pool because his ownership was going to be through the roof. It still is going to be through the roof, but I've seen it come down about 3 or 4% in the last 4 or 5 hours. So you might be able to come up with a way to, outdo somebody else in that situation.
I'm in the same boat as Jason. I'm going to do a big one way and then the other way, AM PM stack and then PM AM stack. But like you were saying, another guy who has a PM start, Shane Lowry, who can deal with the elements. It can deal with the wind if it's going to get that bad. Connors is another guy who is in his same group that, the way he's hitting the ball right now, I don't think the wind is going to be that too big of a factor.
Yeah, I mean, I've never done this because I don't really believe in the wave stack. I've never really put that much thought into it. I'm trying it this week, so if I lose money, it's Jason's fault. But I have 30 names written down here that I may or may not play. 11 of them fit in that AM PM stack, and I'm thinking of at least one lineup just with those guys, and we'll see how it works out. But anyway, let's get to the board. Let's get to this week. You got 4 guys, 10K and above. starting with Justin Thomas at the top, Xander Schauffele at 10-5, Fleetwood, who we just mentioned, 10-3, and Sepp Straka at 10. I think the first question this week is, what do you do with Xander Schauffele? He played 2 rounds this weekend. He almost made the cut. He looked really bad on Thursday. He looked pretty solid on Friday. Did you see enough, Jason, from Xander Schauffele to consider playing him? He does fit in the AM/PM wave, by the way, just so you know.
I think with the being a top tier guy in this field, I think the answer is no. I just worry about like rib issues and like anything with like your obliques or your ribs or anything like that. I worry about that with golf. It's kind of like the same thing with like wrist injuries. Like until he shows me, I don't think he's playable at this point. Like he just looks. I mean, his approach game has still been okay. His tee to green's still been okay. He's struggling in a short game, but he just looks a little bit off in general. So Xander's definitely a fade for me this week.
Xander's also, Steven, a guy that right now is projected, calculated ownership on fantasynational.com is 10.2%. Actual lineups is 21. So he might come somewhere around 14, 15% owned when Fleetwood's going to be well north of 25. Sepp Straka is going to be north of 25. Justin Thomas might be around about the same 15. Do you take a chance on someone like Tommy Fleetwood or not, like Xander Schauffele, because his game, even if it's not A+ in this field, might be good enough at that ownership percentage to make the cut?
I think so. I think he's revving up. He's revving up for the Masters. He won 2 majors last year, so I think he himself is in the mindset of, I want to win majors. I watched him last night on the TGL. He seemed relaxed. He doesn't seem like anything's bothering him. I know it's a video game pretty much, but he seems like okay. So I feel like if that's where ownership is going, like if the numbers are going to be like that for Straka and Fleetwood and Thomas, why not? I think this could be easily a tournament where he ends up getting it all together.
I think he wouldn't be playing TGL too if something was a little bit sore or he was a little bit off, like his body was a little off, he wouldn't be playing TGL.
Yeah, I agree with that. Jason, what are your thoughts on the other guys, JT, Fleets, and Sepp?
My favorite's Justin Thomas. I can't believe how low his ownership is. I feel like a win is coming really soon. I know he's looked a little bit off. He hasn't looked like the normal JT, but
he did shoot a 62 on Friday. So
yeah,
he looked off, but he's also shot a 62.
So
he was horrible. He was horrible on Thursday and came back. Like I thought he was going to be on a 59 watch for a little while. Like it's insane. But I just feel like he's the best golfer in this range. I know Tommy's been playing so good, but I worry a little bit about the ownership. And to see JT's ownership where it is, JT is definitely my favorite in this range.
Gotcha. Steven, any other thoughts on these top 4 guys?
Straka is my.
You love Straka
for bet. Oh, I really do. He was my first. Yeah, he was my first ever outright win. Like I said, but for betting purposes, I like him the most out of anyone in the 10K range.
Yeah, I didn't bet any of these guys. I mean, I'm leaning towards JT and Xander, depending on what I do. But anyway, the 9K range, there's a lot of names in here. Obviously, 2-time champion Sam Burns, Corey Connors, Battaglia, for those that didn't know. He withdrew already. Lowry, who we've mentioned, Will Zalatoris, who we mentioned, Tom Kim, George Spieth, Alex Smalley. Steven, I'll start with you. Who's your favorite name in the 9K range to play?
Lowry. I just think what he's done on this Florida swing has been incredible. I wish McIlroy was playing, because whenever he's in the field with him, he seems to play great. But him and Connors, and I'm kind of going to only just be between those two in picking in the 9K.
Jason?
I thought Steve was going to say Smalley. That's his guy.
Oh, yeah.
For him being 54
I'm gonna
last week at 9K now, it's just like a.
I know they say too, for like you gotta keep in mind like the field and stuff like that, but that's a huge price jump. Like
I actually love that huge price on Alex Smalley. If it was like, he would be 100% lock for me if it wasn't for the wave stack.
Yeah,
he has a PM Thursday. I don't care about the 9,000. I don't care what his ownership is. He's 11% right now, 9 to 11 right now. But the guy's gone 14, 18, 10, 21, miscut, 11, 16 this year. So he's literally got 6 of his 7 events, top 21 places. Alex Smalley's playing great golf. So I still will play him in a little because of the wave stack thing, a little bit less this week. But I think Alex Smalley, I don't care that he's played a lot of golf. And I don't care about the price tag. I think Alex Smalley is one of the 2 best plays in this range.
We got to give Steve his kudos for last week, because he was all over Smalley, and it seems like I for sure missed it. Like, I mean, that seemed like an obvious play last week too. And I'm not looking back, but like at the time, I didn't play Smalley. So kudos.
I had
To
him in
I'm
a
watching it.
I had him in a lineup or two.
I'm watching it, and my fiance goes, "Are you did you pick Smalley?" She goes, "You love Smalley," and I was like, "I don't know what it is," but she goes, "So at least she even knows too." So,
No,
All
I
right,
like-
so Jason,
I
where
pretty
else are you in this range?
I like the same guys that Steve likes in this range. I think Lowry and Connors. I also have interest in Zalatoris. I feel like we've seen like glimpses of him looking like the old Will Zalatoris, and if it were, this would be a perfect course for him. So I like him at kind of like a grinder's course. I don't think he can win a tournament right now where it gets to like 20, but I think maybe if it's like 10 to 12, 13, 14, maybe somewhere around that range, he can win. So I actually bet Zalatoris this week too.
I was thinking when Bethea withdrew, I was debating. I did not end up putting it on him. No, I added something on Alex Smalley literally 5 minutes, or not 5 minutes ago, a little bit before this afternoon. I'm all over Smalley and Will Zalatoris like you, Jason, and I know it's a terrible idea, but I've made worse decisions in my life than this. But I'm all over Jordan Spieth and his low ownership.
I thought about it too.
His ownership again, just like Will Zalatoris, you're seeing glimpses of Jordan Spieth breaking out of his funk. He's not putting a whole tournament together, but this is not a deep field. It's going to be a 10 to 12 under event. I think you can make a case that Jordan Spieth, I almost bet him at 35-1. I wanted that number to be a little bit more, but he's another guy that's going to be under 10% owned right now. He's sitting at 7% own projection. I mean, give me Justin Thomas at 15 and Jordan Spieth at 7 as my first two clicks in a lineup, and I'd be very happy and comfortable starting with the two best friends, of all time, in a lineup together.
I want to play Burns this week too. I really want to, but I just don't. He's just looks so bad. I just don't know how.
so bad.
I mean, like his course
again, sometimes course history, and honestly, his course history is great, but he did also miss the cut here last year.
Right.
So it just goes to show a guy that's won this event 2 times, and the following up his 2-time win, finished in 6th place, and then he missed the cut. So that just goes to show how difficult this course can be at a moment's notice. 8K range, guys. A lot of names here. Couple names I like a lot. So, Steven, where are you at in the 8K range?
I like this range a lot. I like 4 names: Michael Kim, JT, Potzen, Luke Clanton, and Jake Knapp. Jake Knapp for me is my favorite. Just the way he's been playing golf overall. If he can just string together, just like we've been saying with a lot of these golfers, 4 solid rounds and not have that +4, +5 round, there. He's on the verge of winning.
You're not concerned about Michael Kim's bubble bursting last week at the Players? I know it's the Players. It's a tough course, but he was pretty bad off the tee last week. He's projected at over 20% ownership again this week. Yeah. Like if he was 8,900 and missed the cut and was 10% owned, all right, maybe I'd debate it. 25% owned Michael Kim after what we saw last week. Jason, I'm thinking his bubble might have burst.
I'm not sure if it did because I think he's a different golfer now, but I just worry about that ownership. I think that's the biggest thing. I think being 20% makes me worry a little bit. So I don't know. I'd probably not. I'd say I'm a question mark at this point to play him or not.
I mean, I just think that there's better options at lower ownership in this range. Like somebody like, Taylor Moore or Luke Clanton, in the low teens, or hell, if I'm gonna take a higher owned player right now, are you gonna go Lucas Glover or Michael Kim? And I'm gonna lean towards Lucas Glover over Michael Kim right now if the ownership has to be high. Jason, where are you at in this range?
I like Knapp a lot too. I think Knapp's just in like a different. I don't want to say like he's way better than these guys because he hasn't, does he have 1 win? But he just seems like he's playing better golf than a lot of these guys right now. I like Glover, like you mentioned a little bit. Taylor Moore is probably my favorite play in this range. I think he's a lot better golfer than people realize that he is. And a 12th and a win here in the past 2 years. And he's just like a cut maker. Like he's never really like these big tournaments like the Players. Like he never really is in the picture, but he makes a lot of cuts at those real tough tournaments. And I feel like a tournament like this where the scoring's down a little bit is tailor-made to him. No pun intended.
When Bethea withdrew, I took half my Bethea bet and placed it right away on Taylor Moore at 55-1.
I think that's smart.
Because this is the kind of course, some courses people don't win. Like it took Rory how many years to win 2 Players, and that's a rare feat to win the Players twice. This event's an event that people win multiple times. So I felt very comfortable with Taylor Moore at 55-1, placing that half of my Battaglia bet on him. Any other names? Anybody like Luke Clanton this week? Because I know you mentioned Adam Scott earlier in the show, or you mentioned Justin Rose. I think it was Adam Scott. Do you like Luke Clanton this week? Because for some reason, I know he's still an amateur, but I still like Luke Clanton's game a lot.
Just came off a win. He just won the what was it called? The Seminole
Classic or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being the big man on campus? Yo, I'm playing on the PGA Tour and I'm dominating the NCAA.
I can contend on the PGA Tour and also dominate this college event.
Like, wouldn't you like I could see like a grumpy Karen type parent being like, that kid shouldn't be playing against my kid because he's on the PGA Tour.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I just see that totally happening.
What's the end game for him? Like, what? I guess I'm confused. I know that he wanted to stay in college for another year, but like he's qualified for the PGA Tour at this point. Is it?
I think what happened is his personality. He won his PGA Tour, but he committed to playing this year for his college team.
Okay.
So I think as soon as the college season ends,
he's out.
I think you'll see him declare pro. That's just in my opinion from what I've heard about him and the personality he is. He's just waiting to complete his commitment to his college team.
Is he in the Masters? Do we know? Well, if he's the amateur, he probably is for sure.
Yeah, he's got to be.
Yeah, he's the number one. Yeah,
he's got to be in the Masters this year. All right, let's look at the 7K range here. Let's move right along. Starts off with my man Ben Griffin at 7,900. I think there's some interesting names in the 7K range that you could get different with if you want to use a high-owned guy somewhere else. So, Jason, we'll start with you. Where are you looking in the 7K range?
I don't like the top of the 7Ks at all this week.
Just Ben Griffin, in my opinion, is the only decent option at the very.
He just played a lot of golf, which makes me a little bit nervous. My three favorite in this range, I'll give you my three favorite. I like Highsmith a lot. I feel like he's kind of tailor-made for this course too. Makes birdies. Obviously, that's not super important here, but he's fourth in 175 to 200 yards. So I like him a lot this week. I like Novak. I just feel like he's had a couple good finishes here, and I feel like he's kind of tailor-made for this course too. So I like him. And then Bridgman has kind of played good golf and is a little bit underrated, I feel like. So I like him. Those are my three plays.
Bridgman and Highsmith are surprisingly pretty highly projected ownership-wise.
Yeah, they are.
For their price and their range. Like, you're looking at 13-15% for Highsmith, just a tick below that for Bridgman. Highsmith's on my maybe list here. And he's got that AM/PM wave stack. I'm just kind of a little shocked on that ownership percentage for him right now.
I think Novak's a super sneaky play this week.
Yeah, I like Novak. I think Novak's a good, solid player in weaker fields, for sure. Always good to play him in weaker fields. Steven, where are you at in this range?
I'm going to go with one of your guys from last week, Sam Ryder. He was,
I love him this week.
And he was up there last week. I mean, if you had him in your lineup, he definitely paid off. And he's in the lower end of the 7K range. His putter is elite, and he's a second shot guy. So if he can get there on approach, I mean, the putter could be what really pays off for him in DFS this week.
I didn't know this was even possible to do, but I had a 3-for-6 lineup min cash last week. Okay, because it was Rory McIlroy at 13%. JJ Spawn at 8% and Sam Ryder at 2%. That was a lineup. The other three guys all missed the cut, but it's still min cash. It was a $3 entry and it cashed for $5.50 or whatever it was. I was like, I didn't know you could cash a lineup with 3 out of 6 guys making the cut. But I do agree. I love Sam Ryder this week.
You had a 3 of 6 cash, and I had a 6 of 6 make $2. So DFS golf is hard.
That is why DFS golf is hard. We try to break it down here. And figure it out. I'm going to give you guys a couple other names that I like that you didn't mention in this range. Obviously, like I said, Ben Griffin outside the timing. I think Christian Bezuidenhout, if you have a Bezuidenhout kind of a day like I do, Christian Bezuidenhout's a good play. Again, another week, and I have no idea why. Second in my model, Kurt Kitayama. Again, I still don't get why. And he's only played here once, and he missed the cut. But I kind of don't know. Like, for some reason, I never played the model darling, but I'm kind of thinking about it this week. I'm just considering it. But I also like Doug Gim this week in this range, and Rico Hoey I think is a really good play this week as well at the very bottom at 7K even right there. His ownership's a little high right now, but why is Carl Phillips, or however you say his name, why is he being loved so much by so many people right now?
I don't even know who that is.
He won the Puerto Rico.
The
weeks ago.
the Australian,
Yeah.
New
Phillips,
Zealand.
he won the Puerto Rico 2 weeks ago. He missed the cut at the
yeah.
Players, and there is a massive amount of hype around this guy. He's only got 4 PGA Tour events in his career, the U.S. Open in 23 and then 4 this year. He has made 3 or 4 cuts this year. Really good approach player, honestly. Outside the U.S. Open 23, he's gained strokes on approach every single week of every event he's played in. But people are hyping him up, and I'm just kind of shocked. And I wish, I wish I kind of understood the hype behind his name. 6K range.
Is he the one who went to Stanford?
Did he? I don't know.
And he's on Tigers, and he's sponsored by Tigers brand and everything like that.
Maybe that's where the hype comes from. Then
I think I was watching it on Thursday, and that's what they were talking about.
Gotcha. I mean, honestly, if you're hyped, if you're sponsored by Tiger, I mean that's got to give you a little credence somewhere. All right, 7K or 6K range. Adam Schenk starts it off at the top of the board, and there's a lot of names obviously in the 6K. I don't love the 6K range, but I think there's some room to maneuver in this range, even going all the way down to the very bottom of the board. Steven, where are you at in the 6K range? Do you have any names you like?
One name I like for a first round leader is I can never pronounce it. Camilo Villegas. Villegas. I mean, holy crap! That guy shoots a 66 in the first round almost every single time he's out there so far. But I like him, and then Davis Riley, T6 in the Puerto Rico Open, shot a 66 Friday, 3 consecutive cuts made. He lost that playoff in 2022 here. I just think at this price, he's probably going to be chalky. But he's my favorite here in the 6th.
I was hoping nobody would notice that one, and it would sneak through somehow. Davis Riley.
No, it's not going to sneak through. I can't believe Davis Riley's so low. I mean, I know he's not playing great golf overall, but
remember when he came on the tour, he was a stud for a minute, and then he kind of
wasn't he like a stud that we talked about a lot? He was like the hot up and comer when we first started this show, like 4 or 5 years ago.
Almost like I'm trying to think of like who he'd be similar to, like Cameron Young, almost like where he didn't win a lot. I think he won like a team event, but like he didn't win a lot, but like he was always there at the beginning when he first came on tour.
Yeah. Jason, what are you looking at here? Or do you hate the 6K range as normal?
No, I don't hate the 6K range. I think, well, first I want to say one more name he's actually 7. I thought he was 69, but he's 7. Oh. Mackenzie Hughes. He's 2 for 4 made cuts here, but it was a 3rd and a 13th in his made cuts. I feel like when he's putting well and he's doing well around the green, I think he's worth a play. So that's a kind of a sleeper for this.
And he's missed 2 of his last 3 cuts, but he had a. Didn't I bet Mackenzie Hughes a few weeks ago? Like a few weeks ago, Mackenzie Hughes was a hot name on tour. Now all of a sudden he's dropping down really quick because he missed.
I'm a sucker for those around the green guys.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't hate the play at all. I kind of honestly he didn't pop in my model, so I kind of even missed that he was in the field. Now I got to think about him.
I'm also going to test your theory on the Players Championship. I'm going to go back to Danny Walker this week. I think
Danny Walker.
He just looks like. First of all, when they were saying Walker, I'm thinking Jimmy Walker. It was my first thought.
Yeah, I was too.
Walker. From a few years ago, I'm like, is that Jimmy? I'm like, don't.
I think of Walker Texas Ranger personally, but
he just
he got young.
He just looks like a stud in the making to me, and so I feel like 6,900. Like he's not going to be 6,900 much longer. So I'm going to give it a roll. I like Davis Riley too.
I'm actually going to write him down. I think I'm going to consider Danny Walker too.
I actually bet him this week.
Did you?
Yep.
Not the worst. Not the worst bet, probably. 6K range. I'm going to throw a couple names out at you too. Antoine Rosner. I kind of am slightly intrigued by Brian Campbell. I know maybe his bubble burst already because he didn't play well last week at the Players, but short grinder kind of guy. If the weather gets bad, like it might for a little while, I kind of think that Brian Campbell can hang around, make the cut, and not win the event. I'm not talking about betting the guy. But I'm thinking a guy like Brian Campbell, fresh off his first career win, might be a name. I mean, he's projected like at 1% ownership. It can't hurt, right? Bryce Garnett's a name that I think could have some success here this week. Henrik Norlander. I like Neil Shipley this week as well. And all the way down 6,200. Terrible golfer this year. but it's got fantastic course history, and that's KH Lee.
Right.
Some names that I mean, what's that?
He has great course history, but hasn't he missed like 4 or 5 cuts in a row?
So his course history is 9th last year, 19th the year before, and 29th the year before that. But he's missed 4 straight cuts. His last cut was his last made cut was the Waste Management.
What matters more?
He did have a 9th at the Farmers earlier this year too. So he has had good ones. Yes, we are at the pizza shop, Nooms. We are. The pizzas are being made. I'm trying to roll for an hour and hope the wife doesn't, fall too far behind back there. But yes, we are making pizzas and talking golf at the same time today.
She's the more capable family member. We know it. So
yeah, right. No way. No way. Steven, any other, or did either of you guys miss any names in the 6K that you might be interested in?
Something about Griot wants me to. I'm just leaning towards playing him, like for no reason, just like that gut play. But I don't know why.
All right.
He's playing horrible. He's playing horrible.
I can't share the screen today because I'm limited tabs here. But obviously, let's recap the fantasy situation. Who won the DFS contest last week?
Some jerk.
Anyway,
You did.
So what's that put me at? Like 5 in a row that I've won or something like that on the DFS contest?
Nice streak.
You guys,
A
just,
nice
just give me
streak.
your money. Just hand it over to
You might as
me.
well not even play. It's not even worth it.
No. I want to win one thing in my life. Okay, this is my chance to win something in life.
You married Melissa. You already won.
Oh, it's a shame she can't hear you.
I know, right?
Here,
You
you were just told that I won all the time because yeah.
She knows I'm right.
Yeah, you're just giving your money to her, not me. Okay, when I win, she's really the one that wins. Anyway,
I love her much better than you anyway. So
thanks, I appreciate that. What an angle you are. So let's build some lineups. I don't even know where to go, but I won again, so I'm going to pick the order. I'm going to go Jason first, Steven second, me third again, because I'm having a lot of success picking third in this contest. But real quick, Steven, there's been 10 weeks. I've won 5 of them. Jason, you've won 1. Steven, you won 4. No, 3 because we skipped 1 week. That's right.
We don't have to talk about that.
Yeah, I just want to double check, make sure we've got the accurate stats here as we get ready to build lineups. So, Jason, you get to kick it off this week.
I'm gonna go low off the bat. I'm gonna go Danny Walker.
Danny Walker. Okay. I already like your lineup because you've convinced me on Danny Walker. So, Steven, you're up next.
I am gonna go with Lowry.
Shane Lowry. Okay, write that down. All right, so I'm on the board for 2. Again, as I like to do, I always put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to start with Xander right off the bat, and I'm going to go with Jordan Spieth right off the bat.
Wow.
2 plays at the top of the board right away, just to get him. Not that you guys would have taken. There's 0 chance you guys would have taken Spieth. Maybe Xander, but no way you guys were taking Spieth. But I'm just going to steal him right away. What's going on, Barb? How you doing? Hope you're well. Yeah, we're talking a little golf here tonight. Valspar Championship, and I'm live at Fox's Pizza Den here. Thanks for tuning in. Steven, you're up.
I'm gonna go Sam Ryder.
Sam Ryder. I should have taken Sam Ryder. I really should have there. I knew you were going to take him there.
I'm gonna go with my man. I'm gonna go JT for
JT.
1.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna go. What do I want to do next?
That's JT Poston, right? Correct. That's
JT Poston,
great.
right? Yeah, the real JT.
No, seriously, which one are you going with?
No, just
Somebody talked about JT Posted tonight, so yeah, I just got to make sure we're on the same page here.
I'm gonna.
Somebody mentioned his name, so
I'm gonna do some. I actually like him this week too, but
yeah,
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do something that I normally wouldn't do. I'm gonna go Tommy Ladd.
Who?
Ooh.
Fleetwood.
Oh, Fleets in the weather. Okay, I like it. I can't believe his number is where it is to bet him. So
It's real hard though.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna go with Jake Knapp.
Who?
Jake Knapp.
Jake Knapp. Gotcha. Sorry, it's
hear
loud. Yeah. Oh, so you didn't hear either? Okay, I thought it was just
kind of like cut out right when he said it.
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. So that means I'm up. We're gonna go Rico Hoy, or however you say his name. So we'll start there with Rico Hoy, and then we are going to go Joe Highsmith as well.
I like how Rico Hoy just got little East. Never mind.
What?
I was going to say Rico Hoy just got a little Asian.
Is he? I don't even know who it is.
No, he's not. But
No.
Give me. I'm gonna go Lucas Glover.
Lucas Glover. Like it. My pen is dying here.
I'm going to go Novak for my first pick. And then what am I going to do after that? I'm going to go Novak, and I'm going to go Bramlett.
I like Bramlett. Bramlett's actually on my maybe list here, so it's a good pick there. I don't hate that idea at all.
So you had Huey and who? Hoy? And who else?
And Highsmith.
Highsmith. All right. I'm gonna go with. Oh, I don't really want to.
Well, then don't do it.
No, but I kind of do. Let's go with Kitayama.
Kitayama. The model darling.
It's a lot more tolerable at whatever he is, 7,800 than it was 9,500 a couple weeks ago.
Absolutely. All right, I'm rounding out my lineup with Neil Shipley and Will Zalatoris.
Shipley and Zal. Nice.
I'm all over the place. We got 2 9Ks, a 10K, 2 low 7Ks, and a
65
and a 6,500. I'm all over the place on this contest this week.
What do you have left?
I'm gonna round it out with Luke Clinton.
Good pick.
Yep.
And I have $7,500 left. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Bridgman.
I think if I would have taken Bridgman, you would have taken Highsmith, and since I took Highsmith,
yes,
you took Bridgman. Guys, just so you know, there is a contest you can compete with Jason, not Jason, because DraftKings hates Jason. You compete with Steven and I in the contest. There's a link in the description on YouTube, and it's all over Twitter. If you're watching on Twitter, you can click it. It's $3 to enter. Top 3 spaces get paid. I mean, most likely you're just giving me your money because I've won it like 5 weeks in a row. But just so you guys know, there is a contest for $3. It'd be fun. It's a good way to test it out because DFS golf, while hard, is also one of the most exciting, fun things to do out there.
I was going to say you invited this guy, but you actually invited us, so never mind.
Yeah, I mean, I invite everybody. That's just kind of the way it is. Anyway, so real quick, one and dones. I had Hideki. Hideki missed the cut last week, so obviously I fell even further behind. While I'm dominating the DFS game and the outright board, I'm falling very far behind in the one and dones right now. Where do we stand on the one and dones? Give us the overall total because I can't pull that screen up right now.
Oh shoot!
Somebody's got like 2.5 million. Somebody's got over $1 million, and I'm like at like 700K or something like that.
Steve is at a cool 2.2 mil. I'm
Okay.
at 1.2 mil, and you're at 749,000.
All right. All right. So who's going first on the one and done? Steven?
Yep. I'll go first. I'm gonna go with Sepp Straka.
Sepp Straka it is.
Straka. I'm gonna go Clinton. Number one in my model.
I mean, I could tell you this and be a friend, but Luke Clinton can't actually collect any money this week.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I'm such a all those negative things you say to me. I couldn't let you fall. He was gonna win, and you were gonna get $0. But see, I'm a nice guy. Despite what people tell you, I am a nice guy.
I'm gonna go Taylor.
One too.
Good call. I'm gonna go Taylor.
Hey, look at me helping you out.
What a rookie move that was.
It was a rookie move. Barb, golf is a great sport. If you ever do fantasy football or fantasy basketball or baseball or bet on those sports, betting and fantasy golf is 100 times better. And if you watch the show every Tuesday night, we'll give you the information to make informed decisions on your thing there. So I appreciate it. It is hard to play. None of us here can play. That's why we talk about it. I'm going with Alex Smalley in my one and done. I like Alex Smalley this week. Like I said, I got him at 77-1 earlier today. That's not bad. 77-1 on Alex Smalley. So I'm going Alex Smalley with my one and done. My bets this week, I'm all over the board because of Battaglia withdrawing. Instead of just putting all that money on one other golfer, I spread it out amongst 4 golfers. So I've got like 7 or 8 outrights. I know I got a bet on Connors, Ben Griffin, Lucas Glover, Taylor Moore, Rico Hoy, Kurt Kitayama. I threw $1 on Carl Phillips just because everybody else was. and of course, like I said, Alex Smalley at 77-1. That is where my board is all over the place. But I actually have less invested in my betting market this week than the last couple of weeks.
Players hangover for everyone. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I try to put a certain dollar amount each week, and I just didn't love the odds on. Like, I really wanted to bet Tommy Fleetwood, but I couldn't believe 14-1 was his opening number, and there's just no way I could bet Fleetwood 14-1.
What did you say about Smalley? What are his odds?
They were 77-1 on Fanatic Sportsbook.
Okay, yeah. He's 70 on Fanduel, so that makes sense.
Yeah, so 77. I told you, Fanatic Sportsbook, which you guys should check it out. Their odds. I went down the board Monday when they got released. Ben Griffin was 5-1 more. Lucas Glover had 10-1 better odds. Taylor Moore had 5-1 better odds on there. Obviously, Smalley's got 7-1 better odds on there. You guys got to be checking out Fanatic Sportsbook, and if you want a link, send me a message. I'll send you a link and get you guys a free sign up just to let you guys know, and maybe we all get some free bets out of it. Jason, what kind of bets do you got this week?
I have Justin Thomas 20-1. I have Zalatoris 45-1, Clanton 50-1, Glover 70-1, and then I went. Oh, sorry, hold on. I have Knapp 55-1 also. Okay.
Where'd you get Glover 70-1? I saw it up to 55-1. Maybe that split did that. Yeah, he's part of the PMA, and maybe it jumped up a little bit.
And then I have two more. I have two long shots. I actually went 7 bets this week, which is more than I normally do.
More than me too.
I went Danny Walker 120-1, and then I went Novak 150-1.
I might add that Danny Walker if I can get good odds on it. Honestly, you guys can. I kind of like that.
Player, 120-1.
Yeah, too good of a player. Steven, what do you got on the betting card this week?
I looked it up. Phillips he did go to Stanford, and he's the Tiger guy. That's why everyone's
180-1.
That's why everyone's on.
I bet $1 on him. Why not? Worst things have happened in life with $1.
I got Sepp 16-1, Corey Connors 35-1. Lucas Glover 60-1, Jake Knapp 75-1, and then Davis Riley 120-1.
Gotcha.
That was even better than the first joke.
I mean, I'm all over the place today. My mind's racing in 100 different directions.
My eyes water a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I make you cry?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know what's going to make you cry or make you laugh? I'm not sure. And real quick, I don't know if you guys caught it. I just caught it literally about 2 hours ago. Happy Gilmore 2's new trailer drop. Did you guys see it? And are you excited? Or do you think it's going to be a terrible Netflix movie? Because Netflix movies are either great or god-awful. And Adam Sandler Netflix movies are either super great or super god-awful. And I'm a little worried that it might be super god-awful.
I'm a little afraid, too. It sucks, too, when the first movie is so damn good. That's an all-time classic. And, you're going to – I don't know. It's risky at best. Yeah. I'm nervous.
I think it's going to be an assignment. There's going to be a second Fairway to Heaven episode 1 week this summer, and we're going to all be forced to watch it. And we're going to do an instant breakdown of Happy Gilmore 2 right here on the air live. Steven,
what did you think? At home though? You get to watch it at home, so that's one good thing. If it sucks, it's well, you know what? Yeah. I'm already home, and I'm biased because I'm a big Adam Sandler fan, so. I'm going to come out of it you know what? It wasn't too bad.
Those movies he did with Jennifer Aniston on Netflix were just so awful.
But I watch them all the time. I see them on TNT or TBS. I'm like, why not here for 20 minutes,
It was so bad, the first one, that they had to make a sequel, and the second one was even worse. Rashad, what's up, my man? 30-year later sequels don't have a great track.
Yeah.
What other 30-year later sequels?
Rocky.
The Beverly Hills Cop one.
Remember the Rocky one that came out? That was
oh my God.
It was after Rocky 5. It was Rocky Balboa. That was
Balboa. That was really bad.
Yeah.
Like I said, I like the new. I like the new Beverly Hills Cop
with that guy Tommy, the kid.
Yeah. Tommy Gunn.
Oh man, that was Tommy Gunn was in Rocky 5. I'm trying to think of what other sequels have come out 30 years or a long time later. I don't know, Rashad, but I'm excited. I think it'll be fun, even if it's bad. The nostalgic part of Happy Gilmore will make it kind of fun to an extent,
Yeah, I think so too.
I just want to see one thing in the movie, and I know well, unless they're keeping it under wraps, I want to see Drew Carey in it, filling in the role of Bob Barker. I think it would be a great little nostalgic thing where Drew Carey plays in a charity event and Happy Gilmore punches him just like he punched Bob Barker. I kind of think that would be a pretty cool little. That would be a little cool little. You've already seen a bunch of pros in the video. or in the trailer. So
Price is wrong.
I'm kind of interested in that.
Price is wrong.
Real quick.
And the
before we
golf
wrap
cameos, the
this
golfer
up,
cameos will be good.
the golfer cameos will be good. I wonder, you know what they should do? I just thought of this off the top of my head here. They should have like Full Swing as like a little like, you know, inside it somehow. Like them trying to film Happy Gilmore for an episode of Full Swing.
They do.
Did
you watch it?
No, I haven't seen the new season of it.
Yeah, it's part of it. I think it's the second episode.
Oh, I did not know that. That's even better now knowing that. That kind of makes my day. Coming to America, that was really bad. I did not see the new Bill and Ted. I refused to do that. And Dumb and Dumber. That was unnecessary. They didn't even use the same guys in the second Dumb and Dumber movie, did they? Yeah, no. Anyway, real quick before we wrap this shebang up, because obviously the Valspar is this weekend. I don't know why, but I'll be watching the Valspar this weekend. I will not be watching the other big sporting event that's on this weekend, and that's March Madness. And Jason, I know you're a big Michigan State fan. I got a bet in 33-1 on Michigan State to win. Tell the listeners why Michigan State's going to win the NCAA March Madness tournament.
Maybe I should ask my kid because I don't think they're going to win the title, other than your bet. So
Natty,
they go 11 deep, and I think that's way more than most teams. They're going to wear people out, especially the second game of the weekend. They're going to wear people out. They substitute almost like a hockey team, like 3 at a time, 5 at a time. Like they're deep, and then they got the Izzo magic, so they're going pretty far. But I don't know if they're going to win it all.
Rashad, before we sign off, if you're still watching, let me know who you think's going to win because you're the betting expert down there. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of bets on March Madness there.
He's going to bet the Florida Gators, I would imagine.
Okay, a Florida Gators guy probably. Yeah. Steven, what do you have any bets for March Madness? Do you even watch college basketball? Because I mean, I've not watched 1 second of college basketball this year.
I'm a sports nerd, so I watch it all, but I don't like dive deep into it until conference.
I've run out of time. I can't watch it.
The conference championship. These last 2 weeks are like the time where I'm like, oh, okay, that's how. And I'll watch the reruns on Sports Center of games and everything. But I actually have Michigan State winning it all. I think this is the Izzo year. He's flirted with it how many times, and like what Jason said, the depth. I think the parity in college sports with the NIL just has these guys wanting to play with each other. You can pretty much just go play with your AAU friends. You can get a couple million to do it eventually, So I just think they have the depth to go do it.
Is Tom Izzo coming towards the end of his career?
Yeah, he's 70, so
maybe this is a swan song for him. He walks off and wins the title and whatever. Yeah. Rashad's got a great point. You only bet Tom Izzo in the Michigan State. It's true. Yeah, I mean that's a very fair point. Can
I make a point on that? So Michigan State has been under Izzo. They've been a 2 seed 4 times.
Okay,
they lost in the first round a couple years ago, which sucked, obviously. But the other 3 times they made it to the Final Four. So
that's good. That's good. All right, guys. With that, we're going to wrap this up. The phone's ringing in the background again, so I probably should go back to work here. But everybody, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button, that share button. If you need any questions answered, find any of us on social media, Twitter mainly. Send us your messages. We'll answer them for you. If you want to place a bet this weekend, if you're struggling to build a lineup, let us know. We got you. But everybody, thank you very much for tuning in. Fairway to Heaven right here on the STT Sports Network. Everybody have a great weekend. Let's win some money. Enjoy March Madness if you will. But for Steven Fuentes, Jason Sullivan, I'm Phil Stiefel. Bubbles up.
Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep.